There is something your cat does every single day that most owners completely misread. It is not a random behavior. It is not a mood. It is a verdict. Your cat is watching every single thing you do, measuring your actions against a set of silent expectations you never knew existed. And the most unsettling part is this. If you keep breaking those expectations, your cat will never confront you. They will simply start pulling away, one quiet moment at a time. By the end of this video, you are going to see your cat in a completely different way. Because the place where your cat chooses to sleep at night reveals exactly what they think of you. And once you understand why, everything else will start to make perfect sense. Let us begin with something almost every cat owner does wrong, and most will never realize it. Think about the last time you looked into your cat's eyes. Maybe you were sitting together on the couch and you found yourself gazing at them, feeling connected, feeling like you were sharing something real. And then they turned away. You probably thought they got distracted. Maybe something caught their attention across the room. But what was actually happening in that moment had nothing to do with distraction. In the world of cats, holding direct eye contact is not an expression of love or closeness. It is a declaration of dominance. It is the same signal that cats in the wild use right before a confrontation becomes physical. When two cats lock eyes and neither looks away, that is tension building toward conflict. That is the instinct your cat is drawing from every time you hold their gaze a few seconds too long. So in those moments when you thought you were bonding, your cat was sitting there reading your stare as a form of aggression. Not because they misunderstood you, because their nervous system was responding exactly the way nature designed it to. Research published in the journal Animal Cognition found something that perfectly illustrates this. Cats consistently moved away from people who maintained direct eye contact with them, but moved closer to people who blinked slowly and then looked away. That slow blink is the cat's version of a smile. It is a signal that says you are not a threat. It says you are safe, and I trust you enough to close my eyes near you, even for just a moment. If you have been gazing at your cat your whole life thinking it was sweet and intimate, that is an easy thing to change starting today. Next time you make eye contact, soften your gaze, offer a slow and deliberate blink, and then gently look away. Do not stare them down. Let the moment breathe. That simple shift communicates more warmth and safety to your cat than any amount of prolonged eye contact ever could. Now here is something else that catches owners completely off guard, and it happens in what feels like the most peaceful, loving moment between a cat and a human. Your cat is on your lap, purring, clearly relaxed. You are petting them softly, enjoying the moment, and then without any warning at all, they bite your hand. Not aggressively, but enough to shock you. And your first instinct is confusion, maybe even hurt feelings. You were being gentle. You were not doing anything wrong. But here is what you need to understand. You were doing something wrong. You just did not know when it became wrong. Cats have a neurological threshold for physical stimulation. Below that threshold, petting feels wonderful to them. It releases calming sensations. It deepens the bond. It makes them feel safe. But the moment that threshold is crossed, the sensation flips completely. What felt good moments ago now feels irritating. The nerve receptors in their skin become overstimulated, and the only way your cat knows how to stop it is to use their teeth or claws. Scientists have a name for this. They call it petting-induced aggression, and it is one of the most misunderstood behaviors in domestic cats. It has nothing to do with your cat being unpredictable or mean. It has everything to do with a sensory system that reached its limit. The signals are always there before the bite happens. The tail begins to flick or lash. The ears rotate backward or flatten slightly. The skin along their back ripples or twitches. These are your cat's way of saying the moment is becoming uncomfortable, and they need you to stop. Most owners miss every single one of those signs because they are focused on how peaceful and perfect the moment feels. And then the bite happens and feels like it came from nowhere. Understanding this changes everything. Pet your cat in shorter sessions. Pay attention to their body as closely as you pay attention to their sound. When any of those signals appear, stop before they have to ask you again. When you give your cat the power to decide when a petting session continues, something shifts. They start approaching you more. They stay longer. They trust that you will listen. And that trust becomes the foundation of a relationship that your cat actually wants to deepen. There is another rule that gets broken constantly in households everywhere, and it happens during what looks like nothing more than a bit of tidying up. Your cat has a spot. Maybe it is a particular corner of the couch. Maybe it is a folded blanket on a chair, or an old cardboard box you forgot to throw away. And one day you move it. You rearrange the furniture, you reorganize the room, you toss out that worn-out box without thinking twice. Felt like maintenance. Felt like your home, which it is. But from your cat's perspective, you just erased something that belonged to them. Cats do not experience their environment the way humans do. They do not see rooms. They see territories. And every corner of the space they inhabit gets mapped not visually, but through scent. The glands on a cat's cheeks and paws release pheromones that mark the places they feel safe and comfortable. That old blanket was not just warm fabric. It was soaked in the chemical signature of their identity. It was their anchor. When you remove or relocate it, that anchor disappears, and your cat has no way to understand why. Research published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that environmental changes are among the most significant sources of stress in indoor cats. Something as minor as shifting a cat's sleeping spot to the other side of the room can result in anxiety, disrupted eating patterns, and litter box issues. These are not signs of a difficult personality. These are signs of a creature whose sense of security was quietly removed without explanation. Respecting what your cat has claimed is not about letting them run your home. It is about recognizing that for them, those choices carry real emotional weight. And if you do need to make changes, do it slowly. Move things gradually, a little at a time, so your cat can follow the transition without feeling like their world was rearranged overnight. Now let us talk about something that happens every single day in millions of homes, and almost no one thinks of it as a problem. You walk over to watch your cat eat. Maybe you crouch down next to their bowl and say something affectionate. Maybe you reach out to give them a gentle stroke mid-meal. You are being sweet. You are being present. There is nothing wrong with any of that, is there? But your cat's nervous system has a very different opinion. Eating is one of the most vulnerable states a cat can be in. Their head is lowered, their attention is on the food, and their ability to monitor their surroundings is reduced. In the wild, that level of vulnerability could mean the difference between surviving and not. That survival instinct does not disappear just because your cat lives in a home where nothing can actually harm them. So when you stand over your cat while they eat, even with the most loving energy in the world, their instincts translate your presence as a potential threat. They cannot fully release into eating because part of their awareness is now tracking you. You cannot see the stress it creates, but you can sometimes see the results afterward. Cats who feel pressured at mealtime often eat too fast, which leads to vomiting. Some begin guarding their food. Others gradually start eating less from that bowl altogether. In homes with more than one cat, this dynamic becomes even more intense when food bowls are placed too close together, because the presence of another cat at close range creates that same feeling of being monitored and unable to relax. The rule your cat is asking you to follow here is actually very simple. When they are eating, step back. No words, no touch, no hovering. Give them a few feet of uninterrupted space and let those minutes at the bowl belong entirely to them. In a multi-cat home, give each cat their own separate eating area, so no one is being watched while they eat. That small adjustment removes a source of daily stress that most owners never even considered was there. Here is one that might be harder to hear, because it happens in a moment you have probably never paid much attention to. You come home after a long day. You open the door, you drop your bag, you maybe kick off your shoes or reach for your phone. And somewhere in that moment, your cat is there, sitting near the door, watching you, waiting, and you walk right past them. Not because you do not love them, not because you forgot they exist, just because you are tired and you figure you will give them attention in a few minutes. But those few minutes are not what your cat was waiting for. That exact moment of arrival was. Cats do not greet casually. When your cat positions themselves near the door as you walk in, that is a deliberate act. It is not coincidence. They heard you coming. They recognized your footsteps, your voice, your scent on the air, and they made a choice to show up and acknowledge you. Researchers who study feline social behavior have found that cats form ritualized greeting patterns with the humans they trust, patterns that mirror how they greet other cats they feel close to. A tail raised high, a slow approach, a quiet chirp or trill. These are not random sounds and movements. They are structured social rituals that carry real emotional meaning. When you walk past without acknowledging them, your cat does not react dramatically. They do not yell or follow you around demanding attention. They simply register the absence of a response and file it away. And over time, those missed greetings accumulate into a pattern. Your cat starts showing up at the door less often. The chirp disappears. The tail stays down. Not because they stopped caring, but because they learned quietly and without drama that you do not follow that particular rule. The repair does not require a grand gesture. When you walk through that door, take 3 seconds. Look at your cat. Offer a slow blink. Say something soft, whatever feels natural. That is genuinely all it takes. 3 seconds is enough to tell your cat that you saw them, that you registered their presence, and that the greeting matters to you too. Now everything we have covered so far, the eye contact, the overstimulation, the moved blankets, the mealtime tension, the missed greetings, all of it has been leading toward a single truth. And that truth is revealed in one of the quietest places in your home. It is revealed in the place where your cat chooses to sleep at night. This is not a small detail. Sleep is the most unguarded state any living creature can enter. When your cat is deeply asleep, they are completely without defense. They cannot react quickly, they cannot assess threats, they cannot protect themselves. For an animal whose entire psychology is built around vigilance and survival, choosing where to sleep is one of the most significant decisions they make. And they make it every single night based on one central question. Do I feel truly safe here? A cat who sleeps on your chest, or curled near your face, is giving you something extraordinary. They are choosing their most vulnerable state and placing it right next to you. They are not just saying you are nearby and that is fine. They are saying that out of every option available to them in this entire space, you are where they feel most protected. That is not habit. That is complete trust. It is the highest form of emotional communication a cat can offer, and most people experience it without ever understanding what it truly means. A cat who sleeps at the foot of the bed is telling a slightly different story. There is trust there, real and genuine trust, but also a small amount of protective space. They want to be near you. They chose your room, your bed, your presence. But they are keeping themselves close to the edge, where they can move quickly if needed. That is not a sign of distance or doubt about you as a person. It is the behavior of a cat who is still in the process of learning your patterns, still confirming that all of those silent rules are being followed consistently enough for them to fully surrender their guard. And a cat who sleeps in a separate room entirely is perhaps the most misunderstood of all. Many owners take this personally, as if their cat is rejecting them, expressing unhappiness, or simply does not care about closeness. But that is rarely what is happening. What is more likely is that something in the daily environment is creating just enough uncertainty that full relaxation does not feel possible near you. Maybe it is one of the patterns discussed throughout this video. Maybe eye contact has been holding too long. Maybe petting sessions have been pushed past their natural end. Maybe greetings have been skipped one too many times. These are not catastrophic failures. They are small misalignments that accumulate quietly over time. And here is the most important thing to understand about all of this. None of it is permanent. Your cat is not building a case against you. They are not holding a grudge or counting your mistakes. Every single day offers a completely fresh beginning. The slow blink you offer tomorrow morning matters. The 3 seconds you take at the door tonight matter. The way you pause before reaching out to pet them and watch for their signals before continuing, that matters deeply. Every small adjustment you make gets noticed, processed, and responded to by a creature whose entire emotional life is built around consistency and trust. Your cat has been watching you for as long as you have shared a life together. They have been cataloging your patterns, reading your energy, and measuring every interaction against a set of expectations that were never written down and never spoken aloud. They did not know how to tell you what they needed. They only knew how to show you through where they waited, where they slept, and how willing they were to close their eyes around you. Now you know the rules, not because your cat found a way to explain them, but because you cared enough to look closer. And that might be the most important thing of all.